How do I manage my stock market anxiety? To be a bit Buzzfeed-like for a moment, there is that one simple trick. Today and yesterday are healthy reminders. There is a price to be paid for owning stocks, and that price is anxiety. The returns are great in the long run. This is the best way to build wealth. It sure beats working. However, every so often, the world catches cold and everything in the stock market loses value all at the same time. So, how do you manage your stock market anxiety? How do you channel your inner Rudyard Kipling? If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, you all know the If poem. The only way you can fully benefit from stock market investing is to manage your own anxiety and remember not to panic. That is admittedly quite hard to do. The worst thing to do now would be to lose your head. The entire point of paying an investment advisor is for weeks like this one. Not that they could have timed the market. No, they could not and should not. They are there to remind you that you hopefully have a reasonable long-term plan, and the days and weeks like this are part of the bumpy ride to accumulating wealth over decades. Whatever you do, do not try to time your way through this bumpy ride. Time in the market, not timing the market, as the cliche goes. But whether you have an investment advisor or not, you have me. So here's the best thing to do to manage your anxiety, that one cool trick. So actually, there's a psychological trick you should do during days or weeks like this. You need to change your mindset from everything is on fire to everything is on fire sale. Stocks are a lot cheaper today than they were a week ago. More than 10% off everything. This is amazing. This is a bargain. And with that mindset, that one cool trick is to pick some de minimis amount of money for you. Literally, some amount that you know you will not miss. Maybe that's $20, okay? Maybe that's $200, maybe it's $2,000. I don't know. You do you. The point is, you take that small amount of money and you buy the newly cheap US stock market. You go to your brokerage account, deposit the money, put in a purchase order, some broad-based index fund like VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Market, or KSKAX, Fidelity Total Stock Market, and you feel a sense of glee for getting a bargain. Who doesn't love a 10% off sale? And then when it goes down another 10% next week, you do the same thing with another de minimis amount of money. If it keeps going down, it's not a big deal. It wasn't a big amount of money for you. If prices stabilize or go back up, you have a small feeling of being a clever stock market hero without having to commit much of your net worth. This isn't about the money you make or lose with this tiny purchase. The whole point, the big psychological trick here, is to not get yourself into a frenzy of worry, which might end up with you wanting to sell, which might undo your whole wealth plan. The trick is to remind yourself that you can take advantage of others' panic, but you yourself would never panic. This is me not panicking. So I didn't come up with this trick, but I did use it to great effect back in the dark days of 2008, 2009, the Great Recession. I had opened up a 529 education savings account for my then 3-year-old daughter. I knew I didn't need this money from the investment account for another 15 years. I kept a log of contributions I made whenever the stock market took a massive big drop down. So October 8th, 2008, I made a $250 extra contribution because the stock market keeps crashing. And that was literally in my notes, because it keeps crashing. October 23rd, 2008, another $250 contribution because the stock market keeps crashing. March 4th, 2009, $500 contribution when the S&P 500 was down to 750. It's now at 5,074 as of this writing. These contributions honestly helped me manage my panicked feelings during those dark days. If you are already retired and you don't have a long-term project to save and invest for, maybe you know somebody in your family or a neighbor who has a 529 education savings account for a young kid. Maybe you should reach out to them this weekend and offer to send in some money to buy stocks at a 10% discount for a child's education who won't need it for another decade. But to be a Thomas Paine in the neck about it, these are times that try men's souls.